Hey guys, King Charmas here to be your judge, your jury, your analyst. Today I bring to you my top 5 teams for the upcoming Catch Cup. The worst cup of all time. Why we are still making Catch Cups, I do not know. The fear of missing out model is getting old, but unfortunately it still does work for Pokemon Go, and especially for Pokemon Go PvP. A higher barrier to entry model, despite the fact that it doesn't work for esports, guess what? Pokemon is pushing it as much as possible. So, despite this, hopefully y'all do enjoy the Catch Cup. I put a bunch of budget teams and just like random and just like other teams in here as well. If you really want to spend us, or if you don't want to spend us, then hopefully these teams do work out for you. But before we get started, it's going to be my therapist mental health tip of the day. As usual, you could skip this by going ahead of the chapters. This one's going to be about gratitude. So, despite the fact that everything's going on, I am very grateful I could still play Pokemon Go. And a lot of us do forget that we have a lot of things that other people don't have. So focusing on gratitude can sometimes feel like a tall order, especially if you live with a mental health condition. So this is from Psych Central. As usual, I love Psych Central because they're medically reviewed by mental health professionals and other professionals in their fields. So gratitude can actually help boost your mind and your mood, especially if you express that gratitude to others. Some examples might include your healthness and wellness, having a food to eat, the home you live in, your loved ones, and pets. For example, when it comes to me as a content creator, I may not be the biggest one around. I feel like I should be a lot bigger than most, especially with everything I've done in the community, but that's just the way it is. I am still grateful that somehow, some way, I have 4K subs. 4K is a lot. It may not seem in hindsight, but for how hard I've worked and for how long I've been going, like having 4K, especially still being a full-time mental health professional, mental health therapist, I'm very grateful for every single one of y'all. So yes, make sure you practice being grateful. Take a look at this article. There's a lot of great ways. It's 10 ways for you to help express gratitude and to show gratitude. So yes, make sure you practice gratitude because I am grateful for every single one of y'all. And without further ado, this is my top 5 teams for this season of Light Catch Cup, and let's get started. Alright, first off, we got the budget team. So if you don't have dust, or if you just want to try to get as many dust as you can, and you don't have Stardust, this is for you. Talonflame knocked out with Golbat. All of these Pokemon have second moves for only 10k dust, so this is the best budget team. The only problem with it has terrible coverage. Talonflame can function without Incinerate. The reason you want Fire Spin is in case you see a Skarmory. In that case, knocked out on Golbat, don't do well against Skarmory. As you see, incredibly terrible coverage. So when you look at these teams, the problem with the coverage rating is that a lot of things like G-Fisk and Registeel, you won't see those mods because they aren't actually like available for the Catch Cup. So unless you find them just hanging out in the wild, you probably won't see you probably won't see these unless someone is really crazy and they really want to. You have people out there, for the Catch Cup, they do insane like things like they'll spoof. Well, spoofers in general have the most advantage for the Catch Cup because it gets spoofed everywhere, but yes, so you're not going to see a lot. Most teams, you won't see things like G-Fisk, Registeel, etc. So, the thing about this team is this team absolutely loves Trevenant. If you see a you love Trev because Trevenant, you can actually build a Trevenant for the Catch Cup, and it's actually one of the best mons for this cup. So, if you do see a Trevenant, this team absolutely loves to see Trevenant. As you see, a ton of threats. A lot of them. This team is literally designed to just give you a shot if you don't have any dust. So by all means, is this team not the greatest thing since sliced bread? However, like I mentioned, budget-wise, it's still very good. 10k dust, a total of 30k dust for your second moves, and all 3 of these mons are decently powerful outside of getting hard countered by things like Toxapex, seeing a Lantern, or just, yeah. The problem with this thing is you'll see a lot of things that will beat your entire team. For example, Altaria, Lantern. Lantern is coming out for the recent season of Light update, so look out for Lanterns if you see it. But like I mentioned, this team's only designed if you just don't want to spend any dust. Otherwise, use the other teams use other teams or use the teams in this video, and it will work for you. Next up, we have the Degenerate team. If you just want your Stardust, this is for you. Politoed, Alolan Ninetales, and Clefable. You don't even need to get your second move with Politoed. You can literally just use Weather Ball. Like, you literally just need Weather Ball. So, Weather Ball, Double Charm. And you can single move the crap out of these mons. So, for this team, you don't actually need double moves. Politoed with Weather Ball is enough. And then you have Alolan Ninetales and Clefable. For the next upcoming events, for the Season of Light, you will be able to see Alolan Vulpixes in the wild, as well as Clefairies. So, you just want to catch those. Just catch one, evolve it, power it up, and boom. Here you go. Single move mons to oblivion. This team is terrible. Anything with double charm has an F for coverage, okay? You see one Diggersby, you die. Or not one Diggersby, I mean, if you see one Stunfisk, you die. Because you can still get G-Fist, even though it's... You've seen it in every Catch Cup, even though it's kind of unlikely, you will see the tryhard sweats that have G-Fists in their team. Mind you, I haven't played a lot since the Season of Light, so I don't have 7k G-Fists just laying out here, and I don't plan on powering one up just for the Catch Cup this time around. I really don't. But, if you do, if you want to get through your sets fast, as long as you don't see a G-Fisk, this team will work best for you. Or, if you get the G-Fisk in the lead, this is why you have Politoed in the front. Politoed and Weather Bomb absolutely destroys G-Fisk, and then you can have A9 and Clefable close out. This team isn't... Like, double charm isn't hard to play. You lose the lead, you say switch into one of your charmers, and if you happen to have, if they have like a G-Fisk or one thing that, or even a Nidoqueen, that's pretty much GG. So, yes. You can still get Nidoqueen for this cup, and like I mentioned, there's still G-Fisk. So, double charm isn't entirely safe, but you know what? If you want to be a degenerate, and if you want to get through your sets quickly, double charm still works very well. Alright, next up we have Trevenant, Stunfisk, and Scrafty. This is a super meta team. You can get Trevenants as awards from Phantoms, so you could get Phantoms, and Phantoms were actually spawning during October, so yes, there was a lot of opportunities to get Trevenant. Stunfisk, you could actually get it during, if you remember that Clefable event, they were actually spawning in the wild, and you can get them from 7kx, so yes, if you want to get your Galarian Stunfisk, the Trev Stunfisk core is one of the most powerful cores in the, yes, it's one of the most powerful cores in the current Great League meta. Even though Walrein Trev core, Trevenant, you know what, that's how dry Pokemon Go PvP is. It's the same things over and over again. But hey, you know what, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Wait, what's the phrase? If it's not broke, don't fix it, or like, don't change it. So yeah. But this is Trevenant, G-Fisk, and Scrafty. If you lose the lead with Trevenant, you say switch into G-Fisk, and Trevenant can possibly close out for you. Really powerful team. Overall does extremely well. If you get a Dragonite in the lead, it can give you a little bit of hard time. But the thing with Trevenant, if you can Shadow Ball through Shield, it threatens Dragonite. So Dragonite versus Trev isn't exactly a very safe matchup. You're not going to see a lot of Gliscors, etc. The one thing I would say the worst for you is probably going to be Scrafty in the lead. If you get Scrafty on Scrafty, depending on where Scrafty is, it can give you a really hard time. An example over here, Scrafty, if you see Scrafty lead and you lose the lead, it does beat Trevenant and Stunfisk. If you can get Scrafty on Scrafty, depending on who has energy lead or who's revved up more at Power Punch, that's who's going to win. But as you see, still incredibly powerful. Like I mentioned, outside of seeing Scrafty, this team does very, very well. Well, I mean, if you see Scrafty in the lead, then you're in a lot of trouble. But outside of that, this team does really well, and the Trev Stunfisk core is one of the most powerful cores as of right now in Open Great League. Alright, next up we got Skarmory, Trevenant, and Scrafty. Trev is your safe switch. Skarmory is still one of the most, well, it's expensive, but you know, if you want to build one for a Catch Cup, you know, it's still really good. A for coverage, not a lot of bulk just because Scrafty and Trev aren't very well. Scrafty's bulky, it's just Trevenant ruins team's bulk. That's literally what happens. Very safe, very consistent. This team loves to see G-Fist. So you switch, if you can line up G-Fist against Scrafty, Scrafty is incredibly powerful and it just beats the unholy crap out of everything. With your only huge potential threat probably being Charizard, except I don't know if you could catch a Charmander during this event or something like that. I don't remember. I'm kind of outdated in that, so like someone correct me in the comments if I don't, yeah. But you're not going to see a lot of Charizards. So, but even then, like this is all, the only flaw I don't like about PV Poke is that everything for the potential threats is taken from 0 to 1. It does not look at the 2-shield scenario. So if your leads were looked at the 2-shield, then these threat scores would be a lot more accurate. But yes, it doesn't take into consideration the 2-shield scenario. So just keep that in mind when you're making teams or putting stuff together. A lot of people seem to forget that. Like you'll hear a lot of streamers and whatnot going like, oh my god, it wins the one shield. Oh my god, it wins the one shield. A lot of those scenarios you see for like the one shield, they don't play out exactly how it goes. No sim in PV Poke will play out exactly to the T. That's why you don't stress about IVs, because you can switch out IVs, all this other stuff, switching out, sacking, all these other factors don't take into account. So you're not locked in, unless you're locked into a specific matchup. No sim is 100%. Just putting that out there, which is why I've been able to consistently break teams in the past, and probably now if I put more effort into it. But yes, this team, you have the Trevenant and Scrafty in the back. If you lose the lead with Skarmory, stay switch into Trevenant, and hopefully Scrafty and Skarmory can close out for you. Alright, last but not least, we have Nidoqueen Double Dark. This is your ABB team that you can make for this cup. If you want to build a Last Resort Umbreon, it's totally possible. I'm probably just going to do it. I mean, let's see, how many Elite TMs do I have? Yeah, I know, you're like, wait, you're gonna do it, King of Charm? I'm like, yeah, mine as well, you know what I mean? This is the only Elite TM I've spent for this rotation, and I don't foresee Season 13 being anything really new, etc. I mean, one of the things I was hoping to see was Aegislash, but, you know, like, Aegislash got nerfed, and now you have, like, all these other things out there, so, like, I don't even know, you know what I mean? But Pokemon Go is running out of generations, so eventually we're going to reach a stalemate. There's only so many things moveset changes can do for you, especially without having held items or abilities, so yeah. But for this, yes, I'm going to spend Elite TM. I have 4 Elite TMs, I'll spend 1 on it. But you have Nidoqueen, Umbreon, and Scrafty. Super Standard team was one of the most powerful ABB teams at one point, one of the most consistent ones for multiple seasons, just because all 3 of these mons are extremely overpowered. The good thing is, outside of Umbreon needing an Elite TM, all of these mons are really, you could catch all of them. So you get Scrafty and Eggs, and I believe you could find it in the wild? Nidoqueen's in the wild, and Umbreons were Evolution Cup rewards if you played the Evolution Cup. So you saw Umbreon spawn over there. Super powerful team. Like I mentioned, even though it has a C for coverage, it's extremely bulky and can come out of a lot of win conditions. With your only really hard time, and I wouldn't even call it so much of a hard time, is Skarmory. So Skarmory does well Nidoqueen. You're gonna say switch into Umbreon, and then Scrafty is hoping what you can do is hopefully Scrafty beats the unholy crap out of poor Skarmory. Toxapex is also another issue. However, like I mentioned, the 2 shield scenario. Toxapex loses the 2 shield if you can debate your opponent to oblivion. And even then, if you get this exact scenario, or if you don't you just have to land, you just land 1 Earth Power and you could possibly take both of your opponent's shields and farm down Toxapex. Outside of that, Nidoqueen does beat Altaria in the 2 shield straight Poison Fang, which I don't know why. See, it does, yeah, it beats Altaria in 2 shield straight Poison Fang. You beat Venusaur straight Poison Fang, and I think you can get good Dragalge for this catch-up rotation, but I don't know. But outside of it, your biggest threat on this entire list is going to be Skarmory, unless there is some crazy person that made a Medicham XL, which is totally possible. Unless someone just built their Medicham XL for the Season of Light, or their first one, then by all means, all more power to you. And then Skarmory, like I mentioned, is probably going to be your biggest threat. Outside of that, this team's still extremely powerful, and literally one of the most consistent teams of all time. You lose the lead with Nidoqueen, stay switch, and Umbreon, and then Nidoqueen and Scrafty in the back row closes out. A lot of what happens is that Nidoqueen's Poison Fang can set up Scrafty to just power punch the unholy crap out of your opponent. And that's game. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like things are going to change very much for Season 13. A lot of the hype around the Season of Light is for raids and whatnot for the Ultra Beasts. As usual, Niantic's direction is towards money. As we all know, they're trying to make every single bang for their buck before they ride off into the sunset. But we'll see what happens. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope y'all are enjoying Scarlet and Violet. I'm still pumping out content for both games. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you met your goals for Season 12, because my god, there was so much lag at the beginning of the freaking season. Actually, even like the midpoint. Like, a lot of problems that were happening before came back. And of course, this is the quality game. The greatest game of all time. So hopefully, I mean, the game's faster now. Like, if you've noticed it, they literally, like, steroided the game to function extremely fast. Even though I don't see any problems. You probably do with lag and whatnot. But still, it's already too late. I've lost over 800 points in Elo due to lag, and I'm not willing to go back to it. For season 13, I'm probably going to make veteran and whatnot and just chill. I'm going to just like battle, do my stuff for content, but I don't care about legend. Like, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing Scarlet and Violet though, so look out for content on that. I really do hope you guys met your goals. If not, there's always another season to make legend, and we'll see what happens, because December 1st, on the beginning of that month, that's when the season ends, and then season 13 comes out. So we'll see what moveset changes come, etc. They already did a massive moveset change, yet despite that, they can't fix lag. So let's see what happens. But hopefully y'all are enjoying it. Again, if not, hopefully y'all enjoyed Scarlet Violet. Good luck on your Go Battle Exits, and I will see y'all on the next video.
That I made, all the things that I have